There has been a growing amount of tension between animal rights activists and the massive corporations that dominate the food trade. However, recently, activists and concerned consumers have pushed enough to sway industries into adopting better techniques and practices to enhance the lives of animals. If the consumers want quality products and a system that respects the animals which drive it, consumers must refute the appalling factory farm method that produces our food. Take a standard pig, for example, and we'll call it Herman. Herman was born a slave to the American food industry. Herman is separated from his mother by a cold steel gate and only has access through small gaps for him to suckle milk from his mother. Other than this, Herman cannot interact with his mother or lay down with her as piglets naturally do. Instead, Herman is confined in a large pen with his siblings and no cognitive stimulants at all. Nothing to do but walk in circles and sleep. Herman and his siblings are deprived of happiness and elements of life that pigs normally have access to in the wild. Soil to root through, open space, and sunlight are all taken away from little Herman. Not only is Herman confined, but Herman is also missing body parts. He is castrated by attaching a rubber band to his genitals, cutting off blood flow until they fall off. His teeth are clipped and his tail will be chopped off because pigs with nothing to do often grow frustrated and bite each other. These pigs wallow in their own filth, becoming diseased and eventually die. How can this system function if all the animals are diseased? Antibiotics and medication are constantly applied to the animals' feed and water in order to keep them alive long enough to slaughter. Heavy use of antibiotics creates superbugs, bacteria that are immune to antibiotics such as E. coli, O157H7, and MRSA. These bacteria are immune to the common treatment and can be lethal to the victims that ingest them. Do all baby pigs deserve such treatment? Do they deserve to live these sad, dreadful lives? Would you feel differently if they were dogs or cats? Pigs are very intelligent animals, with cognitive capacities similar to those of dogs and even chimps. If a piglet is just as intelligent as a puppy, then why should it suffer in a dark, dank cage and ultimately die for our consumption? We are the great caretakers of this world, and it is ultimately in our power to decide how we want to lead our lives. We should not condemn a species to eternal suffering and a life of squalor. Factory farms are efficient, and they do support a great amount of meat and dairy products for the people of our nation. However, they are not ethically viable, nor do they provide the consumer with the best product available. Normally, taste is the most important aspect of food that a consumer would take into consideration, but with the rise of superbugs and a salvo of new and unknown antibiotics, health is now a major concern. If the food coming from factory farms isn't the safest and it isn't treating the animals well, then it seems that this institution should be eradicated for the betterment of society. There is a better way for the world to sustain itself. Open ranges and less restrictions make for overall healthier animals, both mentally and physically. Now ask yourself, just how many more piglets are you willing to torture and torment for a measly slice of bacon here and there?